Welcome to the We Win Injury Law Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tyler Todd, with my host, who's sitting here, Jaren, the Snow Canyon Man, Sandberg. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You deserve a good afternoon today.
Thank you. Thank you. I've earned it.
You've earned it. You have earned it. Good afternoon, everybody. You guys have earned it too.
Well, did you hear the good news?
What?
They may be doing a Deadpool 4.
Stop.
That's what I heard.
Are you serious?
That's apparently they said that the story's not done yet.
Do you think he's doing that to rub it in our faces?
I think he did it because he heard us talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah, he's like, I'll show those guys I am funny. I'm going to do another Deadpool.
I'm going to do another Deadpool.
Is he trying to like overcome Fast and Furious for like the most like lucrative movie series of all time? Is it Fast and Furious or Mission Impossible that's the most lucrative?
It's got to be one of them that has like 15 movies.
I want to say it's Fast and Furious. It's like, because people don't think Fast and Furious is like this amazing like franchise of movies.
Yeah.
One's pretty good. Paul Walker.
As soon as Paul Walker was done, I've had a hard time watching him.
I know.
Because
my wife loves Paul Walker too.
The first couple movies felt like movies about guys that steal cars or race cars, and then it turned into like Mission Impossible cars.
Kind of, yeah.
Like it really switched to like the first couple were like the coolest part of the movie was when they turned on the nitrous oxide and went fast in a race.
And then kind of like the.
But then by the end, it was like they're stealing from banks and like.
Well, there's like, yeah, I was gonna say like the Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, like car thieves.
Yeah, like it really went almost like they were chasing Mission Impossible or something.
It kind of felt like a little bit. Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Those first couple were like, it was about an undercover agent, car racing crimes, and LA.
I think it's pretty good though. But yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds is trying to like, he's trying to etch his way up there. He's probably listened to our podcast and he's like, I'll show those guys.
Like, I'll show those guys.
I am funny.
I am hilarious. I've done it 3 movies in a row. I'm gonna do a 4th.
I did not hear that.
Yeah.
Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'll probably watch it. He's actually pretty funny in Deadpool. I don't think he's funny in anything else, but he's funny in Deadpool.
He's good in Deadpool. That was like, there's some actors that like they have that one hit. That's it. I mean, because he's terrible as Green Lantern.
He's terrible in most everything.
But in Deadpool, that's like
he's
the
really
role.
Good. Yeah, you're not wrong about that. He's pretty good. Yeah, I'll probably watch Deadpool 4 if it comes out. But speaking of crazy, in Deadpool, there's a lot of crazy in Deadpool. I mean, that's actually part of why it's been successful, because it's so like...
It's that shock humor.
It's shock
and
humor.
Shock
it's
action.
Outlandish. We're talking today in our podcast about kind of an outlandish, kind of super shocking. I mean, it's not the first time we've heard it or seen it, but it's when you do hear and see about it, it's shocking, it's alarming, it's just crazy. But it's all over the news, and rightfully so. But it just happened right here in Utah. On July 13th, there was a violent stabbing in one of our malls, Valley Fair Mall in West Valley City, which is just west of Salt Lake City, of an individual that went up for religious, reasons or motivation and stabbed this guy at a kiosk right at the mall. I mean, you've been to the mall.
Yeah.
I go to the mall. We don't go a ton, but, we were just there, I think, yesterday.
Used to be like the teenage thing, though. You went to the mall.
Yeah, you go to the mall.
I don't know if that's...
Like I said, I was at the mall yesterday.
My kids love going to the mall.
In Fashion Valley, not Fashion Valley, that's in San Diego. Fashion Place, I think.
Fashion Place Mall?
In Murray. And they have those kiosks, right? You're walking down the middle, they have all these kiosks. It's typically, I always remember, like, the guys are like, hey, I'll clean your watch, you know?
Or sunglasses.
Or sunglasses.
I think it's sunglasses.
Or cool bracelets.
Yeah.
What else?
Sometimes the massages.
Oh, yeah, the
people doing the massages.
Yeah, the massages, yeah.
First 10 minutes free, and then you buy a massage.
And that costs you $1,000. Yeah. But the first 10 minutes are wonderful.
Or the stones. I remember just seeing the stones, the like heated stones they put on the massage.
Oh, yeah, those are actually quite nice. But yeah, we see
kiosk in the mall.
Kiosk in the mall. You've seen them. You're familiar with them. Oh, yeah. Or like iPhone case. The cases.
Yeah, the cases. Like
iPhone cases, cell phone cases, whatever. But yeah, so this guy just goes up. Now we understand as details are emerging. Right. This is only what we're like a week later after this happened. Details are emerging that either he talked to him earlier that day or did previously talk to the guy.
Yeah.
And then asked him questions about his religion to determine that he was actually a Muslim.
Yeah, he had identified that he was Muslim, and that was the intent, was to go after someone that was Muslim.
Yeah, but why? Why did he want to go after somebody?
I mean, he's a Christian, so one of the articles I looked at, and kind of in preparation for this.
He identifies as a Christian?
Yeah, like his thing was, I'll have to read it to you because it was like,
I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's a Christ-like thing to do.
This was one of the witnesses told police he approached him and had asked him for water, and then asked him where he was from and if he was Muslim, before stating, "Everything is like Jesus Christ," and then started stabbing him. Quote, "Everything is like Jesus Christ."
Look, I'm not like the most religious guy, ever. I feel like I'm fairly, familiar with, Christian scripture.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any story in the Bible or where Jesus goes up and stabs somebody. Can you think of anyone?
I mean, the Crusades, 800, 900 years ago?
Well, that wasn't Jesus.
No, but I'm just saying, like, that's maybe where you point to where, like...
Oh, you mean in the name of Christianity?
Yeah, in the name of Christianity, going after the Muslims. Well, like, that's not like a modern-day teaching.
It's not.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's a modern-day teaching.
I haven't heard that one yet.
It's not in the Gospel of Luke.
Like, love your neighbor and then stab people? No, that's...
I didn't see that. Yeah,
I missed that one.
I
missed that lesson.
Huh. So yeah.
Yeah.
He said, that's what the reports is. That he said in the name of Jesus.
That's what he said before stating, quote, "Everything is like Jesus Christ," end quote, and start stabbing. And then one of his other friends that was Muslim that was there, he looked at him and said, "You're next."
So then, from what I understand, because there is social media, there's video of this attempted murder, like on video.
Yeah.
And it's being filmed, and then you can see like some amazing innocent bystanders coming in, or passerbys come in and attack the guy, and then start punching the lights out of him. I think he like knocks him unconscious. One of the videos I saw.
Little public justice for a minute.
Yeah, but I want to ask you about that. So I'm going to ask you about one, the amazing bystanders that prevented this guy probably from losing his life, because if the assailant was able to continue to stab at the guy, he probably would have killed him, and that was his intent, right?
Yeah, and a friend of the attacker told law enforcement that he had planned to go to the mall and make an exhibition of Muslims because he knew there was Muslims at the mall. He wanted to do something extreme that would cause people to take the country back, is what he told law enforcement. So Larson said that. So friend said he planned to go to the mall and make an exhibition. Then after the arrest, Larson told law enforcement, quote, "He wanted to do something extreme that would cause people to take the country back. He would have killed as many Muslims as possible."
Whoa.
And then
what's the friend there?
Not the victim's friend. So the victim had a friend that he pointed at and said, "You're next."
Yeah.
But then the friend that they interviewed, I'm sure they're interviewing anyone that knows this person. That was apparently a friend of the perpetrator.
But we also understand though that they had waited. He went to the movies and waited for the movies to go out, so there were more people around to be able to watch him do this.
Yeah, or at least to find him. And this is the craziest part. So he also confessed or stated that he planned to decapitate the victim and throw his head down the hallway to show, quote, that the country would not be overruled by Muslims. And that he stated that he wanted to eat his heart to make something very dramatic.
Wow. It is dramatic.
So he's been charged with hate crime, and
2 counts of attempted murder, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's also been charged with having a weapon. I guess he had already had some previous criminal charges against him.
Yeah. So some of them are probably enhanced.
Wow. So, but we understand the victim has undergone several surgeries, but he's doing well now.
Yeah.
A question for you: have you seen the video?
Yeah.
It looked like there were 2 or 3 big guys that detained him, grabbed him. One was holding him. He looked fairly subdued, and then there's another guy that was just beating the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And knocked him unconscious. I mean, some big punches. All right, I'm an injury lawyer.
I think I know where you're going with this, but keep going.
And look, I'm just curious. Do you think the crazy Christian, let's call him crazy, what's his name?
Larson.
Crazy Christian Larson? What's his first name? Do we know?
Yeah, we've got it.
Crazy Christian. Peter Larson. So Crazy Christian Larson. I mean, from that punch, it looks like he probably he could have, at least at the very least, could have caused some serious, like, damage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I didn't really know what was going on when I saw it.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy cow, that guy just got knocked out. What is going on?
Yeah.
And it looked like, I mean, TBI, traumatic brain injury, could have killed him. The punch could have killed that guy. I mean, and knowing the scenario now, probably, some might say it should have, or too bad it didn't, right?
Yeah.
Does Crazy Christian have a cause of action if he's injured? And I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't, against the bystander that knocked him unconscious.
This is like one of those like great.
I feel like it's
law school.
It's like an LSAT. It's like an LSAT question.
We've got our law clerk that's studying for the bar right now.
He's taking the bar next week. So.
Takes the bar next week, and so we should quiz him on this when we get back to the office. Probably.
Let's say he has a TBI. Let's say he has a severe
I would say
traumatic brain injury.
Yes, has a cause of action, but pretty low chance of recovery. Low to zero.
Why do you think, watching the video, and I'm presuming you watched the same one, 'cause I didn't watch it with you. I'm presuming you watched the same one. Why do you think he has a actionable, like, he has a case against the guy that was punching him?
Again, does he have a good case? No, I don't think so. Because these are like the cases where victim's father in court attacks the person that like murdered their kid, and then you see like they dismiss the charges against the person, right? Because it was like swift justice,
right?
But when you step into a situation, you now expose yourself to liability. Any situation, right?
Well, we've talked about this before with like. Oh, what's the shoot? We just talked about Jesus, like the Good Samaritan.
Yeah,
Good Samaritan laws.
Good Samaritan laws.
So we've talked about that. So it's kind of like
Now I have not looked up Utah's Good Samaritan law, so maybe there is. And in this situation, I don't know if that then shields him because there's but most of the time, it's like one thing to like help out, but then maybe it crosses over, right, to where like there might have been a point where it was like, okay, the guy's unconscious, you're still welling on him. But then again, you're going to like judge that person, and this is hopefully how a jury would see it, is like how that person's reacting in an emergency, right? He jumps in to help this person, and if he took it too far, then like I said, civilly, which our standard's lower, right? It's not like if they had charged the guy criminally with assault, for example,
yeah, because from the video, I don't know whether he still had the knife in his hand, right? I can't tell. You couldn't tell.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like a big knife. It's like a smaller knife with brass knuckles. It's not a Rambo knife or something, not some sword or something.
It sounded Rambo knife. I mean, when you said brass knuckle knife, it sounds Rambo knife.
Yeah, I mean it.
I know. Maybe we just aged ourselves a little bit. At least me, Rambo. Like
no. Do you remember, like as a Boy Scout, your leaders maybe I can't remember if you did scouting a whole lot. I want to say maybe you didn't do the scouting as much, but
I did a little.
It was big in Utah growing up. So, but I do remember them saying like you have to have a pocket knife that closes. You can't have a Rambo knife. Like that was like
yeah.
You can't have this big like. Or if you have a Rambo knife, it has to have like a case.
A Crocodile Dundee knife. Like,
Crocodile.
When he's like, that's not a
knife.
Now
that does age you.
No, yeah, that's true. Fair, that's fair. But Rambo First Blood was awesome. That movie was cool. But yeah, Rambo knife. So, but it doesn't look at. So when you're watching the video,
they are cool looking.
That's
knives.
pretty gnarly looking. Actually, that's
depending on. Now I don't know which one it was.
So to me, that doesn't look cool. To me, that just looks like a freak.
Well, the idea
like a crazy Christian. That's a crazy Christian knife.
Well, what I always think too is like, this is an attack knife.
It's attack knife.
This is not like it could be used for
that's what I'm saying.
whittling.
It looks like a gang or like a whatever.
Yeah, this is the type of knife you are intending to stab something. This is not a carving knife.
No.
I'm gonna use. This could dual purpose camping, and I could cut fish.
It's a scary looking knife.
It's a scary looking knife.
Yeah. So it's possible that Crazy Christian Larson still has a knife in his hand. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, without knowing the context, it looked like he took it way too far.
Yeah.
Like, because he looked subdued. He looked like he was in the grasp of like the guy holding him. It looked like the danger had been was mostly over, and then he just kept going until he knocked him out.
Yeah.
But just like you said, like Good Samaritan scenarios, when you like step into something like that gnarly, right?
Yeah.
Watching and seeing a guy being stabbed, and you see Rambo knife, and it looks scary just looking at a photo. So I can't imagine if you see it in someone's hand, and then you see someone being stabbed with it.
Yeah.
And maybe, and I don't think there's any like audio. At least not that I didn't watch it with audio. You know, maybe the guy's saying stuff as he's stabbing the individual. What's the victim's name?
Sohail.
So maybe he's like saying stuff too. So the scenario that we weren't there.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. So it's very possible that it was such an intense, like, because the video it's only like 30 seconds.
Don't you think this is the hard part too about like analyzing these like quick moments? Like, you know, I remember watching something on the officer in Minnesota, right? Controversial that the officer shot the woman that was kind of blocking her car. You know, and I remember, you know, I think it was CNN.
The ICE agent, yeah.
The ICE agent. And, they were showing like frame by frame.
Right.
Not like, this was like a 3-second encounter of her pushing the gas, him shooting. They showed
was it self-defense?
Yeah.
Was it, yeah.
Then as you got more context, you're like, this officer got dragged like 40 feet before, and some, probably not wanting to have it a second time. And so context matters, but sometimes, it's even like, even in sports, you watch a replay and you're like, oh, that's clearly a foul.
Yeah,
but you watch it like live in real time, and then you put yourself in that situation. It's one thing to sit back, later and be like, oh yeah, it went way too far. Like, yeah, you shouldn't go that far. But like, you put yourself in that situation.
On who you're rooting for, like this past weekend, if you were rooting for Spain, the Argentinians were like disgusting and horrible, like just gangsters on the field.
Yeah.
And the way they acted afterwards, and but if you're rooting for Argentina, that was just passionate, hard, playing tough.
Playing tough as the underdog.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, it is interesting, like depending on what angle you see it from or the perspective, right?
And so here, like, knowing that like the stabbing was not justified, clearly a hate crime and terrible.
Totally.
You're kind of like, justified in the beating.
1,000%.
Versus if this had just been he comes upon two people in a fight and wails on one of them, you're like, oh, he went way too far.
Right.
So here I think that's why I say, does he have a cause of action?
Right.
He probably does.
Maybe so.
Maybe so.
But then, of course,
but then the chance of prevailing or finding an attorney that would take that case,
right?
We would not take that case.
No. So second question: what about cause of action for Sohail for the attack that happened against him?
So this is the interesting angle, I think, is,
First and foremost, let's break it down.
So against the perpetrator
has
a cause of action.
Cause of action.
If he has any insurance that somehow covers things, yes. If he has any personal assets,
well,
you could go after him.
I would say yes and no. And the reason why is it actionable, sure, but then the only really insurance that's going to apply is if Crazy Christian Larson has health or homeowners insurance, and then that criminal act being intentional would likely be outside the policy. So yes, actionable, but recoverable, and actually like an actual civil case, he could sue him individually.
Yeah. Now, so if he's personally wealthy somehow,
sure,
absolutely.
But against like an insurance policy, an insurance is going to say absolutely we don't cover like an intentional criminal act like that. Heck no. So, and how could you insure against that? So that's fair.
Well, and things you're seeing a lot now, and this is something I don't know if we've seen in Utah, but you have seen criminal charges against family members when they knew that like their son or their kid, you've seen parents for minors be charged criminally. I'm curious the civil liability, like if they knew, like, so again, let's assume two things that I don't know. One is if he's perfectly sane and just like a huge crazy racist.
Well, he starts getting radicalized like, privately.
Okay, so from that angle, like, again, did the family members in his household know that he had these things? But the second one, if he's just mentally unstable, which, we'd like to think that of all murderers, but some of them are very sane and just psychopaths.
Right.
I don't know if you're sane and a psychopath. But if he knew what he was doing and is aware, he's not just like he's not like he has schizophrenia and it's a, mental and, something in his head saying kill Muslims. Not,
right.
But it really is that he's radicalized and, and so those are angles you could look at too against the perpetrator is, okay, what's the household? Were they aware that like this person's super violent?
Right.
And had a propensity for this, and they didn't take steps to prevent it.
Right. I think that would be
so then
actionable.
They may be negligent. That's actionable, and so there's some angles there.
Yeah.
Again, those are things that we explore.
What about against the mall? Does Sohail have an action against the mall?
And that's where this is the So if me and you got retained on a case like this, first thing we'd want to do is you'd send a preservation letter to the mall. Preserve all evidence.
Preserve all evidence. I want cameras. I want who was on who. Did you have security guards? Who was there? What's their rotation?
How many
incidents?
What are previous incidents at this mall? If they
all of that.
Had they dealt with this guy before? Like, is he a known offender? He's been kicked out of the mall a few times for yelling at people at the kiosk. So those are all things we'd want to know. And so, yeah, it'd just be interesting. And then at the end of the day, we'd still end up having to retain an expert in, like, mall security, right? Like, I don't know. You think of, like, a high school with 1,500 students, and they have one officer.
Right. True.
So you get a mall in West Valley. No dig on West Valley, but it does have a reputation for being higher crime.
Yep.
So should the mall have been aware, like, hey, this is, West Valley police probably do a lot more than, Park City police or,
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of comments on the videos about West Valley being, like, a little grittier.
But so if you're a mall there, though, and your community, and obviously they've probably had previous incidents of theft and different things, like, did you just have Paul Blart there?
Right.
Or who's there,
Right.
like, gonna, and so those are things that you'd want to know. And so if there was a history of this guy, at least dealing with this guy, or they knew, or there's a history of violence and they should have more security guards, or there's any other things, all those things you're looking at that could expose the mall.
That's what I would look at. If I was Sohail and his family, I'd be pointing a lot of fingers at the mall.
Yeah. And for us, it's, the two don't have to, there's some cases we have where it's one or the other. In this one, you could have obviously, like, you wouldn't charge the mall wouldn't have a cause of action for the actual stab, but they could clearly have negligent security that could be 100, that obviously isn't a cause of action that would be against the actual perpetrator.
Right.
So there's things that, the people can all put 100% fault for the stabbing and the injuries. They could still put, like, on those causes of action directly to the perpetrator, but you could then have a jury still award 100% fault for the cause of action for negligent security, negligent supervision, failure to protect their patrons, like all of those known harms.
Well, yeah, I mean, because think about it. One, I mean, if you're Sohail and his family, that's obviously an immediate concern for, hey, what did the mall do to protect me? And whether they had a legal duty to do so. I mean, I'm not saying they did, but
now there'll also be work comp,
or potentially work comp scenarios.
On the clock.
But if you're like a young family, right, and you're cruising through the mall, going to PacSun to go buy some new vans for school that's starting here in a few weeks, and you see that, or you're within, like, a close proximity to that happening,
the zone of danger.
Are you in a zone of danger? Do you have a cause of action
against the mall?
Have your children been traumatized? Have you been traumatized?
Yeah.
To a degree that, like, would lead that to have some consequences, some damages, if you will.
Now, could it totally be that this was a random occurrence. Nothing has ever happened in the mall. They had no idea. Sure, all those things could also be true.
And if that were true, I'd probably say that you don't have a cause of action against the mall.
But the hard part with cases that we do is like, there is sometimes a little bit of chicken and the egg. Like, we don't know all the evidence until we file. And there's cases that we've told people, like, look, we don't have enough, even up front right now, to move forward with the cost of what it's going to cost us to get that and the time involved.
Right.
And, you know, we get this a lot in slip and fall cases with premises is like, look, you know, we've got a case right now that it was, you know, we had a good narrative from, I think it was a, you know, big box store on here's what happened, here's how much, you know, there was 3 minutes of lead time, not a lot of time to correct this. We didn't know about the issue beforehand, but then they wouldn't supply the video, right?
Yeah,
and they'd offered some what we call nuisance money, which was, here's a little bit.
Just to go away.
Just to go away. And if we file, the attorney looking at it's going to say, well, we're not going to pay anything.
Right.
If in fact what the store represented was true.
Right.
But if it could turn out that what the agent or someone was telling us was, you know, complete bullshit.
Right.
And so then, you know, it's not us. And in this situation, the client did not want to file a lawsuit and did not want to deal with it. And so, you know, we kind of have to listen to our client on that. But those are, I feel like, the dilemmas sometimes you face with gathering these evidence in these cases is like, they're not going to just give you like all their prior accidents and prior stabbings at the mall. And they're not going to give you all their security, like, they're not going to give you any of that stuff.
No, they're going to defend it, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
And so they're going to defend it.
So to find out the answers on whether they're terrible at negligent security, you'd have to file a lawsuit.
Yeah. So if you guys are wondering whether, you know, things like that happen, because like I said, I was just in the mall. Thankfully, that didn't happen to me or in front of me. Yeah. But I will say this, you know, crazy Christian Larson did not make me, or not that I'm aware of, you know, a big revolt against the Muslim population or religion. And so it's just wild to me that he would think that was going to be some sort of like motivation to people to like start stabbing people or take over. Like I just don't understand it.
Well, and if anything, after these incidents, I feel like there's probably a bigger outpouring of love to the Muslim community in Utah. And so, if anything, I kind of love the fact that it has the opposite effect of what he intended, that's the best, probably the only justice you get in a situation like this.
Which ironically would be the Christian thing to do.
The Christian thing to do. So I hope that more people, after hearing of this, reached out to the Muslim community and, you know, is at least aware of like, hey, these are members of our community and showed love and, you know,
like anyone, regardless of your religious denomination. Yeah, that's a crazy story. It really is a crazy story. Yeah. Crazy. That's why we call him crazy Christian Larson. So
well, and we think like this won't happen in our little Utah community, but you know, the bigger we get, you know, we have the Charlie Kirk shooting. We have some of these things that are real gnarly for our state, and this, you know, you think like, oh, hate crime stabbing, that doesn't happen here. Happens here.
It happens. It can happen
and
anywhere.
So it can happen anywhere.
But what I would say, be mindful. And I think I tell my kids all the time when we go anywhere, like let's say to Disneyland, right, or the mall or whatever, you always kind of have to have your head on a swivel, and be aware of your surroundings and be present, and because you just never really know. I would think that we're in 2026, we shouldn't have to be concerned about that anymore. When you go to the mall or you go to a school event or you go to like a football game or a large, you know, or a concert. But those things happen, and we have to just be all constantly aware and be vigilant, and thank goodness for those bystanders, to be able to step in and get after that guy so that he couldn't realize what he was intending to do, which was to chop his head off, eat his heart. Oh. Thank goodness, and hopefully it's also encouraging to know that we have good people out there that are looking out for each other, and that's because we live in communities where. When you have a sense of community and sense of pride, you're going to protect your community, and regardless of who they are or where they're from and what their religious denomination is, I think that's one great thing about not just our state of Utah, but our country. And hopefully there's more of that feeling of community than the divisiveness that's been kind of like permeating for the last little bit. We need a correction there for sure. And obviously what, you know, crazy Christian Larson was trying to do was be more divisive and more crazy. But anyways, if you guys ever wonder whether, hey, do I have a case or a cause of action, and it might be all kinds of different scenarios like this one. A stabbing possibly against the mall for negligent security and hiring and training, all those types of things. Those are scenarios that we look at, and all the different analysis that we will undertake to make sure that everything we're doing is to win in for you and to get justice. I mean, that's really what it's all about. Yeah. Justice for a horrible thing that happens. And sometimes the answer is no, because it's just not actionable. But we look at it. We do everything we can to find and make that determination whether there is something there. Yeah. So you can find us online, wewininjurylaw.com. Obviously, here on social media is the podcast. Reach out to us. We always want to help. So our phone number is 877-WE-WIN-4U, number 4, letter U, 877-WE-WIN-4U. Reach out to us. The consults are always free. So until next podcast, you guys, leave early, slow down, stop running red lights.
And head on the swivel.
Head on a swivel. And Maverick is not that important.
Yeah. It can wait.
It can wait.